What's the single most important insurance coverage that you should have to protect you and your family? And no, it's not life insurance and it's not liability insurance. It's actually uninsured, underinsured bodily injury coverage. And this video is going to talk about what uninsured, underinsured coverage is, when it applies, and our recommendations for why it's so important and how much coverage we would recommend that you have. So unlike liability insurance, which protects you if you are in an accident and unfortunately someone gets hurt and it's your fault, underinsured, uninsured coverage, and we call that UIM or UM coverage, that protects you in case you are injured by somebody who either doesn't have car insurance to protect for damages that they cause, or they don't have enough car insurance to protect for any damages that they cause. And here's a stat that should scare you. In Colorado alone, there are up to 18% of drivers on our roads do not have car insurance. So think about that. That's 1 out of about every 7 or 8 cars that you see on the road every day do not have car insurance. And so what happens if, God forbid, you are hit or one of your family members is hit and injured and they're hit by an uninsured driver, or they're hit by someone who has the state minimum policy in Colorado, which is $25,000. That's when your UM or UIM coverage kicks in. Think of it like an umbrella, not like a liability umbrella, but an umbrella that will protect you in case something like this happens. So if someone hurts you that doesn't have enough insurance coverage or has no coverage, that's when you can make a claim on your own UIM policy through your own insurance company. And it's very important that you have this coverage, because if you're seriously hurt, if you're in the hospital, if you have extensive medical bills and rehabilitation, if you can't work for an extended period of time, the UIM coverage that you have will provide you compensation for those extensive damages. And so sometimes insurance companies or agents will advise their insureds, well, you don't really need to have that much uninsured or underinsured coverage, because if you have health insurance will take care of your medical bills, even if you're hurt by someone who doesn't have car insurance. And yeah, that's true to a certain extent. It will cover the medical bills, but that doesn't account for non-economic damages, which are pain and suffering, physical impairment damages, which is loss of function because of any injuries that you've suffered. It doesn't account for any lost wages that you may incur because of your injuries. And importantly, if you have a recovery, if you get money from any insurance policy, if health insurance did pay for medical care, they have a right of subrogation, which means they have a right to get paid back what they paid in medical benefits. So it's not like you're going to get a gross amount, a lump sum, and not have to pay any of the health insurance companies back or any of the medical providers back. You've still got to pay that back. But with sufficient UIM insurance coverage, it will be there to protect you and to provide that coverage and compensation for any damages that exceed the amount that the at-fault person had when they hurt you. So what's our recommendation for how much coverage to have in Colorado? My advice is as much as you can possibly afford. And a lot of insurance companies, they bundle coverage with your liability coverage, your homeowner's coverage, anything that you already have with the company. If you add on UIM insurance to your already existing policy, it ends up not being that expensive. And so our recommendation is, if you can afford it, to get at least $1 million of UIM coverage. And that way you have that safety net, you have that umbrella, you have that protection in case tragedy happens and you or a family member is hurt by an uninsured driver in Colorado. Another thing that you can do is if you have multiple vehicles and they are under different policies and you pay different premiums for those, in Colorado, if there is a serious injury, you can do what's called stack your UIM coverage policies on top of each other. And so that's another thing that you may want to talk to your insurance agent about is if you have separate policies on separate vehicles or if you have an RV, see what the UIM coverage is on there and see if there's different policies that may be eligible to stack in case you ever need to use it. And again, we hope you don't need to use it, but this is our advice of the coverage that we believe you should have when UM insurance kicks in and why it's so important. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments, or you can reach out to our office if you've been hurt, 303-919-7777, or you can contact us on our website at kanetrial.com.